Hello YouTube, Marielle here again. Just something I was thinking about just, a few minutes ago, and I thought, let me just run and make a video about it. And it's about energy. Thanks to one of my viewers who wrote to me and recommended me to read a book by H.D. Tudor, and the title of the book is Fuel. Now this book, the author is a self-proclaimed narcissist. Reading that book really validated a lot of things that I was feeling very deeply inside. Validated my feelings, my thoughts, my intuition, just all of those things that were gathering inside my head, but I just did not have that spark, that je ne sais quoi, to kind of put it all together and give it a name or give it a title or give it a category. But it was just floating, and it was gathering, and I could see and I could feel and I could sense what that could possibly mean, whatever my wolf was doing and the implications and what it could mean. But again, because I could not understand what the payoff for somebody, for anyone for that matter, to act like that, to think like that, to react like that, to be so resistant all the time to what seemed to me was just normal or reasonable or rational. I just could not understand what could be the payoff, or why would a normal person be like that. It just made no sense to me, and because of that, I was slowly losing myself. I was slowly losing grip on reality, on my senses. I was losing faith really on my own understanding of the world. And I think that's quite important. An awful lot of people, other people don't understand our situation. Sometimes they go, why did you stay that long? Why do you keep doing it? Or why do you allow somebody else to do this to you, and all of those things? And for a lot of people, there are different reasons, besides having children, besides the economics involved, besides so many other things. And another thing as well, especially for me, was I had to make sure I wasn't making a mistake. I had to make sure that I wasn't being too harsh. I had to make sure that I wasn't, I didn't want to throw, like they say, the baby with the bathwater kind of thing. So I had to give myself time to understand, to really be sure that I wasn't mistaken and destroy my own relationship. But anyway, to go back to that author, that the self-proclaimed psychopath author, one of the things that he talks over and over and over is fuel, which we refer in the community as narcissistic supply. He calls it fuel. And he explained that for an awful lot of his brethrens, because that's how he calls them, his brethrens, it's all about gathering fuel. The emotional supplies, the emotion, because they're emotional extortionists. We're dealing with emotional extortionists who do anything they can to drain out of us our energy, of which they feed off of. And it's basically food to them. It's food to them. And they have to work very hard to make sure that supply doesn't dry. It's like air to them. And one of the things he explained as well that ties into that is that because of them needing that food, that food source, if you want, because it is food, you have to, the way he explains everything, it makes me really see somebody like my wolf as a proper vampire, an emotional vampire, an energy, but it's not just emotion, is energy. So they are energetic vampires, and therefore, it's energy, it's emotion, it's food to them. And in order to make sure that supply doesn't dry off, they understand very, very quickly on, either on a conscious level or a non-conscious level or subconscious level, whichever way you want to categorize it. They understand very quickly that they have to work to get to lock it down, to make sure it's in place, and it requires an awful lot of effort on their own part. And this is what I would like to talk about, because as an introvert myself, this is something as well, instinctively, right from when I could remember myself. I do remember about myself being a child and growing up. Long before I knew what the word itself being introvert, actually the word being introvert itself has only been come into my consciousness, or me actually reading about it, just not that long ago. I just knew I was, all I knew, is that since I've been young, I've always been very careful about my energy, either being low and needed to preserve it. I've never been one to have loads of friends. I've never been one to dissipate my efforts all over the place. I've never been one to, at some level, to me, I've always been quite conscious of my energy levels. And don't get me wrong, for me because when people say introvert, then they have this image of the loner or the sad person or the person doesn't like other people, and I'm none of that, or being shy, I am none of that, absolutely none of that. But yet you could put me in a place and I'll be isolated, and I would see nobody for months at a time. I am quite happy, I'm not missing it. But I could go and live in the wood by myself quite happily. I don't believe I'll have an issue, but I don't believe I'll be able as well to live like that in isolation for over a year or 9 months. I don't quite think that. I do need the interaction with other people as well. But yes, I've always been very, very very careful about my energy, because it does it's just that I've always felt my energy is precious. My energy, I cannot just, do things that are not going to benefit or that are not going to bloom into something. Or if I have, I come across people that really just way out of my, I don't know, because I don't know how to explain it, because I don't want to come across as this super judgmental person, because that's not true. I'm not like that. I'm not even a prude person. I've never been judgmental person. I've always been quite tolerant and accepting of people. But certainly there are things that if somebody behave in a certain way that to me, I've had friends, for instance, who've done drugs, and I've never felt the need to judge them, or for me not to be part of their lives, or anything like that. But the minute I see that they try to force me into it, or they don't accept me because they want me to become like them or to do what they do, and even though I'm accepting of who they are, and and that's their lives, and I respect that, but they don't give me that reciprocity, whatever that word is. If they don't give that back to me, it's a case of thank you very much, but so long. Anyway, I hope you understand what I'm saying. And I've always been aware of that, and because of that, I've always been careful about where I put my energy and my effort. And now with this author talks exactly about the same thing, is that those people like my wolf, like those highly functioning psychopath, if you want, one of the reasons as well they don't attach, it's not because they're incapable of attaching, or they don't attach, it's not because they don't want to, maybe they don't, maybe they do, I'm not too sure, but it's more because they understand that it's going to involve time, energy and effort, which to them it's not as important as plotting, organizing people and situation to put everything in place in such a way that the result of the people versus the situation versus whatever, it's going to be organized in such a way, locked into place in such a way to provide them their fuel or their emotional supplies from the target / the victim. And when I looked at when I looked at those two things, me as an introvert, and me being aware of my energy, and being very, very, very careful about my own energy and where I spend it and who I spend it with and where I put my effort and all of those kind of things. And then versus the psychopath, who has exactly the same priority but on the flip side of the coin kind of thing, it really made me pause, and it really made me question an awful lot of things. It's because, you see, there's an awful lot of things that I've observed my wolf doing, acting and reacting, that are so similar to me, and yet I'm not like him. But beside the fact that he has been mirroring me in so many ways, on so many things, this is one of the levels at which I have been confronted as well quite a few times, that have forced me to look, they do that on purpose. They mirror you, or they do things, or they reflect things at you, so you actually end up, blaming yourself for being introspective. They force you to be introspective, which is true and it worked. But at the same time, there is this similarity in those things, in between some of the things that he does that just really, to me anyway, threw me for so long in such a loopy-doopy, warpy kind of state, because there is a similarity there, and yet I know I'm not like him. But yet there is a similarity. I don't know whether you can understand what I'm saying. And anyway, this is just rumbling. This is just something to think about. And yes, I would recommend anybody to research H.D. Tudor and his books. And I tell you, it's quite a trip. And an awful lot of my answers, or an awful lot of my questions were answers through his books. It's almost like it's a Pandora's box. I mean, straight out of the horse mouth, like they say. It's amazing, and it certainly helped me cement an awful lot of my thoughts and intuition and conviction, at times convictions, but I just did not have that, that validation, and through those books I did find those validations. So I just want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, that viewer that actually recommended me that book. It's really made a difference, a big difference. So thank you to all of you who take the time to reach out to me, and have the patience to listen to what I have to say, as well as reach out to me with your advice, because I don't make those videos to advise anybody. I'm new to the whole thing, really. This has only been like not even a 9 months journey, and I still have a lot to learn, and so I'm not here to give advice. I'm just here really to document part of this journey, this awakening process for me, and if by any chance as well anybody that in a similar situation that can that can help anybody, that'll be great. If not, it doesn't matter. It's all really that we are going through this process, sometimes in different ways, but the result is still the same. We're hurting, we're losing an awful lot, and those people are pros. They're not to be messed around with, and the more I learn, the scarier it gets. And I know that there are people in more dire situations that than I am, and my heart really goes out to everyone. It's not an easy situation, and as for me, we'll see where it goes, and ultimately I'll be fine. It's one thing not to know what you're dealing with, because for so long, looking back, I realize I have been fighting a phantom, a ghost, but now I've got it, and I own it, and I'll find a way. And even if I was to lose financially, he's not gonna get me. He's just not anymore, I rediscovered all of this big farce, this big lie, right at the right time. I was just this close to breaking. I was this close to hand over my power to him. I was really just, I was breaking. I reached that point where I was like, I don't understand what's happening. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What's happening? What is it I'm not getting? I mean, am I really this bad? Am I really getting this mixed up? I was this close to breaking, this close. So, thanks to you, and it's not gonna happen. So I'm really grateful, and I just wanted to share that rumbling with you, and that was all. Thank you.